Hi, happy holidays. My name is Clara from Creations by Klare. In this video, I'm going to be creating a gingerbread nativity frame. I'll be using this frame I purchased from Goodwill recently. I like the lines that it had, but it will be painted over with chalk paint and acrylic paint. This napkin, Nativity, I got it from Napkin World. I thought it was so beautiful. And I'll only be using a quarter of the napkin for this project. I'll be using these silicone molds, pine trees, greenery, snowflakes, chalk paint, snow white chalk paint, and brown paint. I will not be using this tacky glue. After all, I ended up using E6000 in a glue gun. I cut out a square using the backer board as a guide. After my backer board is cut from this old cereal box, I trimmed it up a bit to have it fit perfectly. And I did end up using 2 pieces of cardboard. It was not thick enough and it was a little wobbly. So here I am just trying it out and adjusting it. I'll paint the board with, or the cardboard with the Snow White Waverly chalk paint. So the napkin will pop. It'll be much brighter with this white background behind it. I just did 1 coat. Remove the second ply. I'm going to glue it down with Mod Podge, and I'm going to do it in like 3 sections. Paint down about 1/3 of the cardboard and then place the napkin on top. And I'm going to gently rub it in with a piece of plastic. I will apply another coat of Mod Podge on the top of the napkin to seal it in. I did give the frame a light cleaning with a baby wipe before I started this painting. And here I am painting with Snow White chalk paint by Waverly. And I will just give it 1 coat, front and back. This chalk paint won't take long to dry. I'll just give it about an hour at least, and before you start applying the next coat of paint. Now I'm painting the frame with Sable Brown acrylic paint by Americana. It's going to require at least 2 coats of paint, and I will let it dry in between coats. Probably give it an hour or 2 in between coats to make sure it dries well. And I need to paint the back. I'd like it to be all entirely, since it's just a small frame, might as well just make sure everything ties in. And one thing I did not show in the video, I'm going to be removing the stand and applying brown paper on the back and use the sawtooth as a hanger. So I'm using this set of silicone molds I picked up or ordered online from Amazon. It's a bunch of 5 or 6 different silicones. It had trees, it had green ivy, snowflakes, and Santa Claus's little tiny sled and reindeer. So these trees were perfect. And I'm using a hot glue gun. I was playing around between hot glue gun and air dry clay. I wanted to use uh, glue, the hot glue, to because of the frame. If it was the edge, the mold was over the edge, it would not break. But it didn't work out to use the hot glue gun for all the items. And you'll see here as I'm going along. The snowflakes came out so much nicer with air dry clay. Just the detail was so much nicer. And they're very pretty snowflakes in this set. Very thin, but they have a lot of detail. Now I made my castings with hot glue gun and air dry clay. I'm going to paint them with the Sable brown. I gave them one coat of paint and I let them dry, and then I had to come in a second time and paint the little white part of the clay that I didn't see when I initially painted. So there's a lot of detail, and including that with the air dry clay, the leaf detail on the pine trees came out so well, better than I expected with the hot glue gun. You can see them more clearly as you apply the paint. On the hot glue, you do need to apply a second coat. After it dries, you can see the mist areas in the tree, which was not a problem. Just let it dry about 30 to an hour and then apply a second coat of acrylic paint. So the napkin was not wide enough to fit the the cereal cardboard, the backer board for the napkin. So you can see the white on the edges on both sides. So I found a paint that I had. A blue was almost perfect to the perfect match to the sky. So I'm applying it here, and I'm also going to use a snow white or plaster chalk paint and kind of blend it in with both. And I think it worked out pretty well. It looked pretty good. And of course, it's just barely going to peek in, just barely. You'll see it on the when I place the this nativity in the frame. So it worked out really well. I believe really well with the two blues and these paint. I am using 2 brushes, one for the blue and one for the white, and just kind of gently stippling it in. I'm adding a sawtooth hanger, measuring the distance between each side. I think the frame was 9.5 wide, and I think 7 the other direction. So just measured it out, try to center it, put a piece of blue tape there to hold the hanger, and this was a very hard frame, so so I had to put a lot of power behind that screwdriver. I put all the castings on the frame, and I kind of like how it looks right here, but it's not going to stay this way. With acrylic wicker white, a gloss acrylic paint, I'm going to outline all the castings, the leaves and the trees and the bells and the snowflakes. I'm using a brush 20 a Monogram by Royal and Langerfield. I purchased 2 of these brushes at an art store, but I believe I saw them on Amazon. They work really well. It's a very nice thin brush for outlining. Look at this tree. I really like the way it looks in the white. So I'm just going to go around the edges and then go across horizontally to represent the leaves hanging with snow. So you could do it any distance, but I just thought I'd leave like I guess like looks like an 1/8 of an inch, equal distance in between. The snowflakes, I outlined them various ways. On some, I just followed the design of the snowflake, and some I just did my own thing. As you can see on this one, I'm following the design of the snowflake. It came up really nice. It's so easy with this paintbrush, this 20.0. On the inspiration I saw on Pinterest, it had 2 lines, 2 square lines, or 2 almost oval lines going around the frame. So that's what I'm going to kind of duplicate here. First, I'm going to outline with my Posca pen. I was just showing you the different sizes that you can get. Well, there's various more than the 2 that I have here on Posca, but I use the I think it's size 3M white Posca, and I'm going to outline it so that I can, when I use the puff paint, white puff paint, I can easily follow. It just helps me follow do a straight line as best I can. So I'm using this little 6-inch ruler to draw a straight line. Now I'm going to outline the Posca with the puff paint. I was surprised I had this. I'm surprised that this bottle has lasted so long. It's a 4-ounce bottle, and I've painted gingerbread houses, Santa Claus, a tree, and a couple of little items. And I think I have like a quarter of it left, and I was afraid to run out because I hadn't gone to the store to get any. And it's very hard to find at this time, but I think I still have a little bit more after this project, just a little bit more. So I was able to finish and outline it with the puff paint, just enough. I had kind of played around with the design of how it was going to lay out and glue down the castings, and I took a picture beforehand, uh, and it did end up changing a little bit. Now I'm gluing in the trees with E6000 and also the hot glue gun, so they can hold quicker with the hot glue gun, and just applying it right on the edges where it's going to touch the frame. I did try to use a little thicker glop of hot glue so it could be supported on the portion that didn't touch that little edge. That worked well on some spots. So going down this little pine tree, and the reindeer, I'm going to place it right there. And I didn't show you, but also I took 2 snowflakes and some greenery. Well, it's not greenery, brown greenery, and glued them inside there in the nativity, right on top of the manger, the straw manger. So now applying the snowflakes. You could easily go overboard and apply many castings, but I had to be kind of careful. I didn't want it to look over. Now, hopefully it doesn't look overly decorated to you, to whoever's seeing this. Here I'm trying something new. I'm mixing the Sable brown acrylic paint in the air dry clay. I'm trying to tint it or color it before I make the casting. And I'm trying to make it a little darker or the same tone of brown, but it's taking lots of paint. I saw this technique on a YouTuber, and I wish I could remember her name, but she added red and green and white and tinted her air clay and made candy canes, and they were so cute because she made the like ropes and then just intertwined the two colors and make candy canes out of them. But anyway, I made these. The, the color I did need to repaint it with brown. It was not the right. It was too light. Uh, but maybe it could have worked. But I don't know. Uh, so I'm trying to make another casting of the reindeer, and it was just too small for the air dry clay. It actually came out better with the glue gun. So some you hit and miss with clay, some with hot glue gun. But I went ahead and used these that I made, and I just painted, gave it a little bit more paint with the Sable brown. So sorry, I didn't explain. I made more castings because I looked like I needed a little bit more to fill in some areas. So just a few more is the reason I'm showing you this, plus the mix of acrylic paint in the clay. So now I will seal the frame and the picture with Mod Podge. I'm going to give it the first coat of Mod Podge and let it dry a couple of hours, and then give it a second coat, front and back, and also the nativity picture. I didn't capture on video, but I removed the stand from the original backboard. It was just too wobbly and it wouldn't support the frame, even from the beginning. So I removed it and applied the brown paper in the back, and it would be you can hang it using the sawtooth, or you can display it on a wooden or wire stand. So now I'm going to apply a second coat of Mod Podge to the napkin, the Decoupage napkin, and a little bit to the snowflakes with a little bit of glitter. I didn't apply it to anywhere else but these few snowflakes in the front of the napkin. Okay, one last thing. One of the bells fell off, or I either didn't glue it. So I'm applying it with E6000. And I also found a snowflake. I knew was missing one. So now I gotta find another spot to put it in. I think I liked it right here next to the darker snowflake. And here's the finished frame. I hope you enjoyed my video and are inspired to make one for your own. Goodbye!